is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be going over how to make a new partition on a hard drive. Now, this does work on both external and internal drives. A small disclaimer though, you will not be able to repartition FAT32 or exFAT allocations, meaning that if your entire drive is FAT32 or if your entire drive is exFAT, then you're going to have to format your drive back to NTFS in order to be able to reallocate and repartition. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. The first thing we're going to do is go to Start and click on Computer Management. Once computer management comes up, we're going to want to go to disk management inside of storage and find the drive we want to reallocate. Now, just to prove my point, I have my external drive here in the exFAT, and we're going to try to shrink the volume. Now, you notice that shrink volume is grayed out here, and that is because it is in exFAT, so we're going to mess with our Windows C drive. So we're going to want to right click on this drive since we're trying to repartition it and press shrink volume. What shrink volume does is it looks for available space that doesn't have anything currently on it, and it is going to give it to you in order for you to try to reallocate and repartition. Now, this does take a little while. Just be patient. Your computer isn't frozen or anything. Eventually, it'll come up and it'll say shrink C. It's going to tell you how big your drive is, how much space you have, and then it will let you choose how much you want to repartition. Now, I still want space in my C drive, so I'm going to go ahead and put 1000 gigabytes. Now, everything in here is megabytes, and it's important to know that 1 gigabyte is equal to 1000 megabytes. So if you wanted a 50 gigabyte partition, then you're going to want to have 50,000 megabytes in there as well. So after you know what size you want, I want 1 gig or 1000 megabytes, you go ahead and press shrink. Now this part does take a second. All of this is going to be quite slow. Even if you have a fast computer, it is very intensive. Just be patient. It will not take forever. Okay, so now that it has finished loading, you're going to notice that you have a 1000 megabyte unallocated drive. Now for you, it might have a different number of megabytes depending on how big you made it, but it should say unallocated. Now if we go into our file explorer, we are going to notice that nothing shows up. So we have our Windows C drive and we have my external drive, but we do not see the partition. So in order to get that partition to show up, we're going to want to right click on our unallocated space and click on New Simple Volume. So this little wizard's going to come up. Go ahead and push Next. And then you want to tell it what size you want your partition. I want, all of my 1000 megabytes. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone. And then here we can assign it a drive letter. Now you can pick whatever you want, or you can leave it the same. I'm going to go ahead and pick Z because why not? Now here it wants you to tell it the file system. Now of course we have FAT32, and we have NTFS. Depending on how big your partition is going to change what you're going to see here. If your drive was big enough, then you wouldn't see FAT, but you would see exFAT. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you want a certain partition and a certain file system, then you're going to want to make sure that you have a certain size. So I'm going to go ahead and leave mine as NTF, and we're going to perform a quick format here and press Next. Click on Finish. Again, this takes a second. And then there we go. We have our folder that comes up with our new volume and my Z drive here. Go ahead and close out of that just to make sure it's working. We're going to head back into our file explorer, and now you see we have our new volume. We have the Windows drive, my external drive, and our new volume. This looks and works just like a USB drive, except it's all internal. So anything you put in there is going to be kept separate from Windows. Now let's say that you create a partition that you want to get rid of. That is very easy to get rid of and incorporate it back into the rest. So in order to get it back into unallocated space, we are simply going to delete the volume by right clicking. Now it's going to let you know that everything will be erased that is in that partition. Go ahead and push yes. Now it's back into unallocated space. In order to get it back into the C drive, we're going to right click on our C drive and we're going to extend the volume. Now this little wizard's going to pop back up and we're going to want to make sure that we have all of our space here, all 999 megabytes. We appear to have lost one. Go ahead and push next and push finish and it goes right back into the main. Now all of this would work on an external hard drive if it was in NTFS and not exFAT or FAT32 or FAT. Windows is not great at using those, so you cannot repartition those. And that concludes the end of our video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, tell me how you feel in the comments, and if you're new, subscribe. Thank you very much.